had an example recently where we were doing a management buyout, but we were actually doing it to extract one of the existing shareholders. So there were 3 shareholders with a third each. We wanted to buy out one of the shareholders. Let's assume it was for £3 million company. So we were going to give cash to one of the shareholders. The other 2 shareholders were going to carry on a 50-50 basis. The problem I had was that one of their other advisors had told them, you can receive loan notes for this transaction, 50% of ordinary shares as well, and you can redeem those loan notes as a capital gain, and they were planning on redeeming them over the next 10 years, which means effectively they were going to reduce their level of dividends and redeem these loan notes instead. Immediately, I was on the back foot because I was trying to tell them that's not going to be possible. HMRC will not give us transactions in securities clearance because you've got no fundamental change of ownership. You're carrying on a 50-50 basis. It's a closed company. There's only 3 of you. The consideration is not in non-redeemable shares because it's loan notes, and there will be the reserves when those loan notes are redeemed, and that's the point that we would assess the transactions in securities. So every time they've created the cash to redeem these loan notes, they'll have had more profits in which HMRC could overturn and treat it as a dividend. Lo and behold, we went for clearance regardless, and HMRC refused for that very reason. So when you're doing a transactions in securities, especially if you're trying to crystallise a gain now and pay in case there are any increases in capital gains tax, if you don't meet those transactions in securities conditions, HMRC are very likely to have a problem because income tax is probably one of your main advantages. For that reason, when doing any kind of tax planning, even if it's your standard management buyout, share exchanges, transactions in securities always needs to be considered. Clearance is available under Section 701 of the Income Tax Act. HMRC have 30 days to respond, so if we're trying to do this ahead of the 30th of October, time is fast running out. But at least with that clearance, there is certainty for the taxpayer that any transaction that they do, HMRC will not try and charge to income tax, because that would be the absolute worst case scenario. So just remember, when you're trying to advance transactions in securities, anti-avoidance legislation is so important to make sure that not only is your transaction a capital gain before the budget date, but also that HMRC aren't going to start charging you almost 40% in dividend tax instead.